All right, welcome to Try Something New Tuesday live on YouTube. As you can see, my location is on site. I am at Cabela's in Anchorage. Unfortunately, not because I'm living in an RV yet, but because we are here to meet Mark and Trish from Keep Your Daydream, and Caleb, and Marissa and Nate and Hensley from Less Junk More Journey. And so I have to provide my live Tuesday recording, and so here we are. We're just gonna do it here. I was gonna sit on the tailgate for you, be a little nicer view,
but it's raining.
but it's raining. So Achiote, that's the Spanish name for annatto, ground annatto, is our food of choice today. All right, participate nicely, okay? So this is a ground seed that grows originally grew in Brazil and the jungles of South America. It has these big kind of hairy pods, and if you open them up, inside there are these little pyramids. They look like little squished, when they're dry, they look like little squished terracotta pyramids. And the original use of the Brazilians and people of the Amazon would be for face paint and body dyes, but it's also food. It's got a neat, kind of nutty, I don't want to say citrusy flavor, and a little bit of like peppery, black peppery. That's okay, Nathan. So, but not spicy at all. It's really a very unique flavor that I've never found anywhere else. So I can understand that if someone has grown up on using this ingredient, that they would definitely long for it. But for a lot of people having it the first time, it's a little confusing, just because it's red. You're thinking spicy, chili, pepper kind of thing, but it is not exactly. So it's actually really interesting. And the package that I showed you, you can buy these in the Mexican aisle at the grocery store. So if you haven't tried it yet, I would definitely suggest it. All right, first time I'm doing this live in front of people. Brazil, of course, we know that Brazil got conquered by the Spaniards. The conquistadors came in, and so by the time they came through, this Amazonian herb had made its way down to up to Central America and down into southern parts of South America. So when the conquistadors came in, it was a pretty well-known herb, and of course, when they head back home to Spain, they took it with them. So you will see some of this influence in Spain. I don't have any Spain-related recipes today, but by the time it came down to Mexico, the Mexicans really liked it. In fact, the Yucatan Peninsula? I can't believe I'm forgetting now. The Mayan, Belize, and southern Mexico turn this, they call it achiote, and they turn it into a paste. So they add some citrus things to it. Typically they add Seville orange, also known as bitter orange. And you can replace that by using orange juice, grapefruit juice, and either lime or a little bit of apple cider vinegar. So all of the recipes that I have kind of talk about different ways to incorporate this powder. But this paste is really versatile. It's not spicy at all. It just comes in this tube. This was like $1.20 here in Alaska, so I'm sure it's cheaper other places. They also have a green paste that they use. This is called Bistec, and this is mixed with oregano, and so it's got more of a, this actually looks kind of black colored. It's got a lot more oregano in it. The Recodo Rojo, which means red sauce or red paste. Then they have a Negro Rojo, which is made with burned chilies. And then the third most common is this Bistec or Rojo Recodo Verde. That'd be Negro, Recodo Negro. Anyway. So if you were to go to the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, you would see these. Like it's the same as it's been since Mayan times, and they don't make it in this box, but they make them in big batches. The whole community comes and purchases from the people who make them in big batches. There's one person who's got a neat short video about it on YouTube. Wish I knew their name to plant it at you. So that's sort of the back history on annatto, or achiote as they call it in the Spanish-speaking countries. So what you can do is you take that seed, mix it with some other things, and make yourself a paste. It's usually a citrus based. I have on the website a recipe to make yourself some of that paste. This is my little package that I have in the freezer for whenever I need it. One recipe that...
I have to go to the bathroom.
Okay, you might have to wait just a couple minutes. One recipe that it's used for is Mexican hot wings. So deep fried, crispy fried Mexican hot wings, they use the achiote and they add chilies to it because the achiote by itself is not spicy at all. I don't have that one yet, but I am working on a page that will have a whole variety of different chicken wings, and that would be one of them for sure. The one thing that I did make, I took this, the breakdown of this paste. I took the ingredients that are in it, garlic and oregano and the achiote and lime juice and beer, and made a marinade for steak. So that's one of the first recipes. I didn't bring my big honkin' steak here with me today to show you, but that was one of the very first recipes that I made. And it's a really easy way. Again, you can throw chilies in it to make it spicy, but super versatile, like kind of everybody friendly. It doesn't have a particular culture that it goes with. But then moving on, so then without having liquid, I made a dry rub, and this one, to get that citrus flavor that you normally have when you mix it with the citrus, I put lime powder in it. And so this is a great way to just have it on hand, add some citrus, bam, you're ready to go. You don't have to mix all of the ingredients, and that I just call a dry rub. So if you're not trying to wait to marinate your steak or your chicken or whatever, you just want something to throw on top of your roast at the last minute, the dry achiote mix or annatto paste is a good way to go. So,
drinking water in the rain tastes good.
Drinking water in the rain tastes good. Now we all know. Let's try something new today too. Mexico, we've started with. Let's move up to Colombia and Venezuela. They have a mix that they call Perico, probably the Spanish word for parrot. And maybe because it's colorful, although mine's not looking particularly colorful, it is made with tomatoes and onions, and then scrambled eggs. In this instance, I added colored peppers. I used green onions to add some more of that color, and then it's not unheard of to add achiote to the mix. And so this is really great. Again, there's no spice to it unless you want to add chilies. And then this is an arepa. So arepas are a corn-based dough. An easy kind of instant dough that they sell is masa arepa. It's pre-cooked corn, and then you make these little cakes. You can either put things on them with like just butter or melted cheese.
We made them and they're pretty good.
We made them and they're pretty good. Nathan gives it the thumbs up. Or you can slice them and stuff them with whatever you like. Avocados, meat, vegetables, scrambled eggs, the Perico scrambled eggs, also known as arepa con huevos Perico. So that would be arepas with parrot eggs. That's what they would call it, those colorful parrot eggs. So Colombia and Venezuela, all about the arepas. They eat them every day. Like 70% of the population eats them every day. Colombia claims them as their national food. Both countries argue about who claimed it first, but this is not about arepa. This is about annatto. Okay, thank you, Nathan. So if we were to move a little bit further north, still in kind of the jungle regions of South America, hitting into Ecuador, Peru, and a corner of where they meet with Brazil, they like to take the achiote and mix it in with their mashed plantains. So I didn't get the Spanish name for it, but they would add annatto and onion and garlic to mash plantains, green plantains that have been boiled. I have all of these on the site if you're interested. Lots of ways to eat mashed plantains, but this is one with the achiote, the onion, and the garlic. Maybe top it with an egg, scrambled egg or some cheese. Those are both pretty common things. I do now, moving further specifically into Peru, have something I brought with me. Peru is known, well, there's several different areas of Peru. There's jungle Peru, there's mountain Peru, and there is ocean Peru. And ceviche is kind of a national dish. It gets claimed as being Peruvian, although I would say that marinating a piece of fish with a citrus is not necessarily only ever been done in Peru. I mean, Japan has its own versions. All over the world, people have different versions of that. But this uses achiote also. That's kind of, the point of today. This one I made a vegetarian version with hearts of palm. And so you have the citrus lime. This is spicy though. I added aji amarillo to it. A pepper called Rojo would have been the normal pepper to choose. It's a red pepper. I thought it was round, but it might not be. I think you can only find that locally though. Typically it's a fish and onions, and then you have citrus, lime juice. Again, this is where Seville orange, or that bitter orange, would be really commonly used. And you just use that citrus to kind of cure. It's not really cooking it. I mean, it does. It changes the proteins of the fish. One reminder is you want to use really fresh fish because it won't kill any bacteria. So you want, you don't want icky fish, but it's a quick way to kind of cook fish and then serve it. One of the neat things about ceviche is that the marinade that you get, they call it leche de tigre, the milk of the tiger. And so after you've marinated your fish or your vegetarian hearts of palm or a banana flour maybe, they have this in this case it's got this orange color because I used annatto, but they have the milk of the tiger, and it's hot and it's citrusy, and they serve it either, oops, all over my stuff, either before the meal as an appetizer, aperitif, I don't know if aperitif, yeah, I think that's right, or during the meal. Of course, it has all kinds of superstition. It's good for a hangover, and it'll make you manly and, make your wife happy, so all that. But I just think it's kind of fun. It's hot, it's spicy. This tastes really good. I'm pretty hungry. I've been waiting to show you guys all this food, so I haven't been eating any of it. So some interesting other ways to make ceviche is to use more Central America.
Every type of your food is the best.
Oh, thank you, Nathan. Everything I make is the best. Mojo criollo. Mojo criollo. I can show you my page of notes there. Anyway, think Cuba. They have this spicy sauce. You can purchase it right in the store in a jar. I have recipes to make it your own. Sometimes you can do that without having so many chemicals and things like that in it. So if you have a Cuban family that likes to put that in their, they might put that in mofongo. Anyway, oh, that's Puerto Rico. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to mix up your cultures there. That would work really well to make ceviche. And if you have more of the Asian flavors, there are fermented coconut sauces that suka pinacurat, the spicy coconut vinegar. It's outstanding, and it would make a fantastic ceviche. But as you're talking about that, now you're talking about some Asian flavors. So let's jump over the sea and let's go over to the Philippines. Now, if you know history more than me, you probably already know that the Philippines had been a colony of Spain. What's interesting about it is that Spain came to Mexico area, the Aztecs and South America, and then they moved over to the Philippines. So what you really have is the colony in Latin America in charge of the colony in the Philippines. So you have obviously Asian influences in the Philippines. Soy sauce and Asian tropical fruits and vegetables, but then you have this Spanish influence, and that's where the Achiote comes in. Over there they call it Atsuete. I probably butchered that. Atsuete, Atsuete. And a lot of times they cook it, they steep it in hot oil. So they have annatto oil or Atsuete oil that they cook with. But a favorite recipe of the Philippines, okay, don't be distracting, just listen quietly, is lumpia. I hope I'm not butchering that. I don't know how you could pronounce it any differently. So what they do is they take that famous pork egg roll thing of China and other parts in Asia, and they mix it in with carrots, and a lot of times they mix it with this annatto. You still have that soy sauce influence, but definitely some of those Mexican flavors, and so they're crispy. I used phyllo dough for mine. Oh, they're not going to be terribly crispy because they've been sitting in my truck. If you've ever had them, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's pork in a crispy fried skin. It's amazing. They're specifically lumpia wrappers. You can use phyllo dough, works really, really well. And if you have to, you could use wonton wrappers or like egg roll wrappers, but those are definitely thicker. So I suggest if you have parties or anybody obviously that eats meat and eats pork, they'll love that. Anybody who loves pork will love that. It's a simpler version of an egg roll. There's no cabbage in it. I did put carrots in there. It's pretty common. They're maybe a little more friendly than cabbage for some people. So it was just really fascinating to me to find out about this history of the Philippines and where their food comes from. Later in 1889, the U.S. took over, and so that's why you get this terrible Americanized Filipino name with an F. But they have all of these influences of so many different cultures, and it's amazing. Every different place, just like we talked about with Mexico, with the influence of the Spanish, and the Spanish that came already had influences of the Moorish people, and so you have all of these things traipsing around the world. The Colombian exchange has been just such an amazing thing.
Sorry about that noise.
And that also made a lot of sense to me as to why the Filipino people have kind of a different facial structure, and it made sense. They have that Asian facial structure and a Mayan facial structure, and I think it's just really beautiful. And anyway, that's what I have today. So if you've never tried achiote, I suggest it. An easy way to branch into it is to get one of these pastes or just make your own, and just experiment with it. If you want something familiar like a steak or a rub to put on a pork chop, or if you want hot chicken wings, or if you're looking for a unique breakfast, a lot of them are really kid friendly because the achiote by itself is not spicy. Excuse me. And so you can make yours spicy and make theirs mild, and yeah. What do you think, Nathan? It's Tuesday, try something new. Do you have anything to say goodbye?
Eat soda and ice cream.
Thank you for watching us this Tuesday. I hope that you learned something new. If you have suggestions or ideas, I'd love to hear it. And we're going to go back into Cabela's and meet again with less junk, more journey, and keep your daydream. So one of these days when we do this on location, it hopefully will be in an RV and not in my truck in the rain. But even if it is, I hope that you enjoy it. So
hey,
go.
do you see rain? There's little rain drippets.
Yep, go make something new, spend time with your family, save some money, and enjoy yourselves.
Can you let me wipe my scooter?
Thanks for watching.
Can I wipe my scooter into the building?